He's not here today either.
I'd like to introduce, I guess starting from the bench in front, Sean Gustafson from DPS, contracting and planning services. Going around the way, Shelby Troyer, planning technician, and last but not least, Jared Holbrook, deputy county attorney. Okay, start with pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, that's what people know. Start with communication.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we decided to move up communications today. Firstly, we had misprinted the scheduled commissioner meeting following this meeting. When it was originally, the notice was originally sent out, it was dated for the July 15th meeting for the county commissioners. However, the county commissioner meeting will actually be July 2nd. It would be the second meeting after this meeting. So new notice is being mailed out and will be published. But just so everyone knows, the BOCC meeting following this will be on July 2nd. The next communication we have is we do have a commissioner vacancy at this time. Kyle Williams is not here because late last week he did come in and turn in his resignation. So we are down to 4 positions again. So we will be looking for an additional planning and zoning commissioner. And that is all we have.
Change for our meeting. July 16th.
That is correct. The reason that we have it on July 16th next month is due to the county being closed on parade day. So we had to schedule it for a different day, but otherwise we're all set to go.
All right, next item on the agenda is consideration of 2024 meeting minutes. Chair will entertain a motion for consideration.
I move that we approve the May 14, 2024 P and Z minutes as presented.
I second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. No opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, moving on to our applications for today. First is MS 2406. That's a request by Gene Michael Van Diest and James Wright for approval of a major subdivision. Sleepy Ridge subdivision consists of 2 lots on a parcel of approximately 49.35 acres in the Mountain Residential MR1 zoning district. Parcel is located at Filter Simple Subdivision Lot 1 and Hat 6 Livestock LLC Number 2 Simple Subdivision Lot 2. The properties are currently accessed from Sleepy Ridge Road. We have some.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Sean Gustafson, BCS Engineers, your interim planner, I guess. Got a report here for Sleepy Ridge. I'll remember to bring my glasses this time. So, the applicants are Gene and Michael Van Diest and James Wright, owners. Agent CPI is Brad Newmiller. And it's a request by Michael Van Diest and James Jamie Wright for approval to create a two-lot major subdivision on a parcel of land approximately 49.35 acres in the Mountain Residential MR1 zoning district. Legal description. It's all of Lot 1 Pilcher Simple Subdivision and all of Lot 2 Hat 6 Livestock LLC Simple Subdivision located in Lot 4 and the north half of the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 2, Township 32, Range 78 West. The property is located on the south side of Webb Creek Road, approximately 6/10 of a mile west of Hat 6 Road as far as location, physical location.
Weak Creek?
Weak Creek, yes.
Gotcha.
Zoning, again, Mountain Residential MR1, minimum lot size, 10 acres. Requirements, existing land use, the property is currently being used for residential purposes. Existing homes occupy both parcels. Adjacent land use to the north is MR1, to the south is MR1, to the east is MR1, and to the west is MR1. Water source is on-site water wells. Wastewater is on-site septic system. General standards for the major subdivision. A major subdivision definition, division of land in two or more parcels of 140 acres or less and not classified as a simple. Two things there that keep this from being classified as a simple is the fact that it crosses the lines of two previously platted subdivisions. Chapter 4, Section 5, criteria for approval. Criteria 1, the subdivision is consistent with the Natrona County Development Plan and the Natrona County Zoning Resolution. This standard is met. The proposed Sleepy Ridge subdivision lot areas are in compliance with the 2022 zoning resolution. The zoning is Mountain Residential MR1 and has a minimum of 10-acre lot size. All lots in the proposed subdivision are over the minimum requirement. The intent and purpose of the Mountain Residential MR1 district is to establish and protect areas for low-density residential and accessory agricultural uses in accordance with the Casper Mountain Land Use Plan and the 2022 zoning resolution 2.05.01. The subdivision is in conformance, or excuse me, criteria 2, the subdivision is in conformance with the general provisions, Chapter 1, and subdivision design standards, Chapter 7. This standard is met. The proposed Sleepy Ridge subdivision is in conformance with the general provisions and subdivision design standards of the 2013 Natrona County subdivision regulations. Criteria 3. The applicant has provided evidence that sufficient water supply will be acquired in terms of quality, quantity, dependability for type of subdivision proposed, as determined in accordance with the standards set forth in the Water Supply Systems Appendix P. This standard is met. The proposed Sleepy Ridge subdivision will be served from the existing on-site water wells. Criteria 4. The applicant has provided evidence that the public sewage disposal system will be established, and if other methods of sewage disposal are proposed, evidence of the system complies with the state and local laws and regulations, which is Appendix O. This standard is met. The proposed Sleepy Ridge subdivision will be served from the existing on-site septic sewer systems. Criteria 5. The applicant has provided evidence to show all areas of the proposed subdivision which may involve soil or topographical situations presenting hazards or requiring special precautions have been identified by the applicant, and proposed uses of the areas are compatible with such conditions. Due to the unique nature and characteristics of the land, this is in this zoning district, Section 3.06 developed in steep slopes and natural hazard areas is applicable and should be referenced for areas with slopes greater than 25%. The standard is met. Natrona County Conservation District had no comments. Criteria 6, necessary services including fire, police protection, schools, recreation, utilities, open space, and transportation system are available to serve the proposed subdivision. Standard is met. The proposed Sleepy Ridge subdivision is within the Natrona County Sheriff's jurisdiction and requires no new services. Criteria 7, the subdivision appears to be compatible with the surrounding area, not detrimental to future development of the area, and not detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of inhabitants of the area and the county. This standard is met. The proposed Sleepy Ridge subdivision will remain under the current zoning of Mountain Residential MR1, and there will be no detriment to the health, safety, and general welfare of the inhabitants of Natrona County. Criteria 8 and 9, ISD and finances. Documentation satisfactory to the Board of Commissioners, BOCC, that the improvement and service district requirements have been met. Documentation that the subdivider has adequate financial resources to develop and complete water and or sewage systems or any facility proposed or represented to the responsibility of the subdivider, but not limited to the above mentioned. Standards 8 and 9 are met as the required services are in place. No financial guarantee is required. Planning considerations. Staff has received the following comments. Road and Bridge had no comment. Number 2, Soil Conservation District had no comments on this plat. Number 3, Natrona County Health Department had no comments as these lots already developed with septic on record. Number 4, the Fire District had no comments on this plat. Number 5, Natrona County GIS reviewed and accepted the plat. Number 6, Natrona County Assessor Mapping reviewed and accepted the plat. Number 7, Natrona County Surveyor reviewed and accepted the plat. Public comment, as of this date of the report, there have been no received written comments. Staff did send notices to surrounding neighbors in accordance with the areas. Staff recommendation. Staff proposes that the Planning Commission enter a motion and vote to recommend for approval or denial of the request of Sleepy Ridge Major Subdivision. In this case, we recommend approval. Should the Planning and Zoning Commission vote to approve the requested major subdivision, staff has no additional conditions for the project. Staff also recommends that the motion incorporate any references and all findings of fact set forth. So with that, there's a couple of sample motions, and I'd love to answer any questions.
John, any questions for Mr. Gustafson? Looks pretty clear. Just a couple questions on the plat. I'm a little disturbed with Sleepy Ridge Road and the alignment at Wheat Creek Road. We got the orphan deal off to the east side of the intersection there.
Oh, the little triangular shaped piece of land there.
Yeah. Couple questions along those lines. Number one, identify the width of the right of way, and I did read in the declarations that the previously dedicated road, that we should at least show the width of it. I think we ought to do something with that little orphan deal up there. I think somewhere in our rules and regulations, I recall, not supposed to do that.
And that's an existing condition. So, and I don't know what causes that existing condition. So we can. That could be.
Wheat Creek. But
And we can certainly have that added to the plat.
also, some road monument, where the width is, put survey, put monuments on the west side of the road, so.
On the west side, okay. Being trying to think what the appropriate monument may be for an easement, but it could be marked, yes.
Mr. Chair, I wonder if the plat that I'm looking at shows that it kind of towards the middle there, it references the existing 60-foot wide utility and roadway easement.
I missed that part.
Oh, yep.
I have it on my computer, so it's a little easier to zoom in and see.
Okay. My friend,
There it is.
okay, so get that 60-foot part. Monumenting it and we'll work on it there.
I will speak with the surveyor and find out what type of monument would be appropriate for an easement. And
Yes,
we'll,
I have another question for staff. There's a house on what would be lot 2, and looked like a house and a shop on lot 1 already built or in construction or something. How did that happen? How did they get a house started? 2 houses on 1 lot.
And Mr. Chair, there were 2 separate lots. These were both in separate subdivisions. Essentially, one landowner, essentially amounts to a boundary line adjustment, but we can't do a boundary line adjustment due to the fact that they're in separate subdivisions, which led us to this major subdivision. So the houses were already existing on the lots.
yeah, I believe in the, let's see here, that, yeah, one was part of, all of Lot 2 of Hat 6 Livestock LLC, simple sub, and to all of Lot 1 of the Pilcher simple subdivision, so.
All right. Thank you, Sean. One more. Nothing for Sean? All right, we got to move into the public hearing. At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for consideration of MS 2406, and that is the Sleepy Ridge subdivision plat. All those in favor of, or anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application, would you please come forward to the podium and give us your name and address, please.
Mr. Chair and Committee, Gene Van Diest with, I'm one of the owners of the proposed subdivision, and just came here today to support it, so I'm in favor of it, obviously. The reason for the subdivision is because of the way the topography is in that area. It's kind of in a bowl, and so, just for the aesthetics and fencing of the area, because the bottom is actually pretty wet, and trying to get some stuff in the bottom is pretty tough. So approached my neighbor, asked him, and he was good with it. And so unfortunate that this isn't a simple subdivision and we have to go through this process, but I am in favor of this and hopefully is approved. Thank you.
Questions for Mr. Van Diest? Sir?
Thanks.
Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the application, would you please come forward? Seeing none, anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the application, would you please come forward? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, declare the closure of the public hearing. And would open up the application for discussion or a motion for consideration. Discussion.
Looks pretty clear. I mean, it looks like it could have been a boundary change instead of the whole drawn-out thing. Would have been a lot simpler. But I understand that it's in 2 different subdivisions, so that's eliminates that possibility.
Okay. Is there a motion?
considering all the relevant factors, including but not limited to those set forth in the 2013 subdivision regulation of Natrona County, I find that the major subdivision meets the general standards required. On that basis, I move to approve MS 24-6 with a do pass recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners with all staff findings of fact incorporated by reference.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a motion and a second for discussion. Do we need to bring up the orphan situation?
Mr. Chair, I think it's something that we could look into just as staff speaking with the engineer. I don't find the necessity in actually having it part of the motion,
Okay.
unless you feel that you want it on the record for the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none? I see unanimous in favor of. Mr. Van Diest, thank you, sir. All right, next on the agenda is consideration of application MS 24-7, and that's a request by Byron and Amber Coffee for approval of a major subdivision. The Inberg Road subdivision consists of 3 lots on a parcel of approximately, 55.54 acres in the Urban Ag Zoning District. Parcels located at Coffee Simple Subdivision, Lot 1. The properties are currently accessed from Inberg Road. Sean, may we have a staff report, please?
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. The applicants are Byron and Amber Coffee owners. Agent is CEPI, Bill Feringer. A summary is, as you just gave, a request by Byron and Amber Coffee for approval to create a 3-lot major subdivision upon a parcel of land approximately 55.54 acres in the Urban Agricultural or UA zoning district. Legal description: all of Lot 1, Coffee Simple subdivision located in the east half of the northeast quarter, Section 10, Township 34, Range 81 West. The property is located on the south side of Inberg Road, approximately 1 mile west of 33 Mile Road. Zoning is urban agriculture. Again, minimum lot size is 10 acres. Existing land use: the property is currently being used for agricultural purposes. The property is currently vacant also, most of it. The adjacent land use, north is urban agriculture, south is urban agriculture, east is urban agriculture, and west is also UA. Water source, 33 Mile Improvement and Service District. Wastewater is on-site septic system. Major subdivision definition: division of land in 2 or more parcels of 140 acres or less and not classified as a simple subdivision, and that because this is previously platted, this is not classified as a simple subdivision. Chapter 4, Section 5, criteria for approval. Criteria 1, the subdivision is consistent with the Natrona County Development Plan and the Natrona County Zoning Resolution. Feel the standard is met. The proposed Inberg major subdivision lot areas are in compliance with the 2022 zoning resolution. The zoning is urban agriculture and has a minimum of 10-acre lot size. All lots in the proposed subdivision are over the minimum requirement. The intent and purpose of the urban agricultural district is to provide for and protect properties of 10 acres or larger, and in the urbanized area, which is used for agriculture, residential purposes, and that's 2022 zoning resolution, section 2.04.02. The subdivision is in conformance with the general provisions, Chapter 1, and subdivision design standards, Chapter 7. That's criteria number 2. The standard is met. The proposed Imberg Mabry subdivision is in conformance with general provisions and subdivision design standards of the 2013 Natrona County subdivision regulations. The proposed Lot 3 of Imberg major subdivision as presented results in a flag lot. According to the Natrona County subdivision design standards, flag lots are discouraged except for good cause. To create a third lot and provide access to the Imberg Road and maintain the 10-acre minimum, all lots in this layout would be required. On all lots in this area, it is required, excuse me. The applicant has, criteria 3, the applicant has provided evidence that a sufficient water supply system will be acquired in terms of quantity, quality, and dependability for the type of subdivision proposed as determined in accordance with the standards set forth in the Water Supply Systems Appendix P. This standard is met. The proposed Imberg major subdivision will be served from the existing public water system through 33-mile improvement and service district, already being a part of it. Criteria 4, the applicant has provided evidence that public sewage disposal system will be established, and if other methods of sewage disposal are proposed, evidence that the system complies with the state and local laws and regulations, Appendix O. This standard is met. The proposed Imberg subdivision will be served from on-site septic sewer systems. Criteria 5, the applicant has provided evidence to show all areas of the proposed subdivision which may involve soil or topographical conditions presenting hazards or requiring special precautions have been identified by the applicant, and the proposed use of the area are compatible with such conditions. The standard is met. The Natrona County Conservation District had no comments. Criteria 6, necessary services including fire, police, protection, schools, recreation, utilities, open space, and transportation system are available to serve the proposed subdivision. This standard is met. The proposed Imberg major subdivision is within the Natrona County Sheriff's jurisdiction and requires no other new services. The subdivision appears to be, criteria 7, the subdivision appears to be compatible with the surrounding area, not detrimental to the future development of the area, not detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the inhabitants of the area and the county. This standard is met. The proposed Imberg major subdivision will remain under the current zoning of urban agriculture. There will be no detriment to health, safety, and general welfare of the inhabitants for the area and the county, since the use cannot change. Criteria 8 and 9, ISD and finances. Documentation satisfactory to the Board of County Commissioners that the improvement and service district requirements have been met. Documentation that the subdivider has adequate finances, resources to develop and complete water and or sewage systems, or any financially proposed or represented to be responsibility of the subdivider, but not limited to the above mentioned. Standards 8 and 9 are met as the required services are in place. No financial guarantee is required. Planning considerations. Staff has received the following comments. Road and Bridge requires a permit for an access approach from Imberg Road. Number 2, Natrona Soil Conservation District report indicates that soils are suitable for construction, but the dwelling rating class is very limited as to what type of construction would be suitable. They advise that suitable wind silt fencing and other erosion control methods should be implemented and overseen by Natrona County. Number 3, Natrona County Health Department is not requiring a Chapter 23 for this report, as subdivision is serviced by a public water system and there are permitted and there's a permitted septic system adjacent. Any future subdividing would require the study to be completed. Number 4, the fire district has no comment on the plat. Number 5, Natrona County GIS reviewed and accepted the plat. Number 6, Natrona County assessor mapping reviewed and accepted the plat. Natrona County Surveyor reviewed and accepted the plat. As of the date of this report, staff had not received any written comments. There was a late comment that came in from the estate of Margaret Evans, care of Rebecca Lincoln, administrator, and I believe that's a fairly long email, and I believe that is included in your reports. We can answer questions on that if you'd like. Staff recommendations. Staff proposes that the Planning and Zoning Commission enter a motion and vote to recommend approval or denial of the requested Imberg major subdivision. We feel it's met all standards, so we recommend approval. Should the Planning and Zoning Commission vote to approve the requested major subdivision, staff has no additional comments for the project, and we also recommend that the motion incorporated reference all findings of fact set forth. And with that, there are some a few displays, but I'd be happy to answer any questions. The biggest one being the flag lot situation.
Questions for staff?
Yeah, Sean, could you talk to criteria 2 a little bit on the flag lot and what the staff recommendation is on that?
You bet. Yes, sir. Just the general shape of this subdivision, to break it up and include into 10 acres, anything minimum of 10 acres. One lot is 10 acres, 10.01. And the other is 12.1 acres, but to access the larger rear lot, which is 33.4 acres, either an easement. An easement could be an option, but in this case, they've opted to do a flag lot specifically for access. And we feel that is a good use of a flag lot, or an acceptable use of a flag lot, is maybe a better way to put it.
So it met the criteria.
Yes.
Thank you.
Robert, any questions?
I can't think of any. The flag lot thing was kind of, I had some questions on that, but you answered that very well.
Sean, I got a couple. When we just walked in, we had a piece of paper from public comment, Jared Compton. Also submitted for the record, submitted a response on the application in favor of
In
it.
favor of, yes. I apologize, I neglected to mention that.
Oh, that's fine. So, having had past experience out there in that area, I believe that's served by Casper Alcova Irrigation District. You know?
Yes, that's part of it. Yes, that's part of the irrigation district.
So, I'm aware from past experience, when you break up lots into smaller lots, that Casper Alcova was set up to do larger lots, and they will no longer, to my recollection, service your property if you break it down like this. So I wonder if that needs to be looked into and some comment or some note put on the plat that if you're gonna use water, you gotta use 33-mile, public water. But if you're gonna irrigate, you're most likely not gonna have Cade water.
That's a good question. I believe, and I'm going to have to look into this, I believe that particular lot before being re-subdivided here did not have any irrigation rights with Casper Alcova. I think that went away in the first subdivision of the area,
Okay,
but I will need to look into that and clarify that.
okay. Maybe we need to put a note on the plat if it
Okay.
does now and won't then.
I would suggest then that be part of the motion also, so that carries forward.
And the only other thing I have is a comment's made that 10-foot public utility easement provided each side of all lot lines. Why wouldn't we show that on the plat instead of making you read that?
Another good question.
Yeah.
And it's proper to do it both ways, is to put it in the dedication or to draw it. I prefer to draw it, but
Me too.
it can go either way, so.
Okay. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
We're ready to move into the public hearing part? All right. I'd like to call to order the public hearing for consideration of MS 24-7, and that is for consideration of the Enberg Road subdivision, major subdivision. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the application, would you please come forward and give us your name and address? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of? Seeing none, anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the application, would you please come forward, give us your name and address? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Lincoln. I reside at 12265 Ingberg Road, which is the property on the east side of Coffey's land. That was originally my mother's land, but she sold that to him. So we have this strip of 24 point something acres there. And that's where I am living. My older brother is also there, and we plan on staying now that my mother has passed away. That is our family home. I'm here to stand behind the email that I sent, and I'm also here to answer any questions that you may have. For example, the water source. Those lots are serviced by the 33-mile road improvement district, and they would have to dig water lines at their own expense to reach any residences or livestock tanks or whatever that they would want water for. They are right on top of my home already. My home is not that far from their eastern fence line. And the first thing he did was park a mobile home directly in the line of sight, east and west. It has ruined the view from the back porch. It ruined the view from the laundry room. It ruined the view from the bathroom. It ruined the view from the bedroom, and it ruined the view from the office. And on top of it all, we received notification of his plans to put that storage unit there after he had already parked it there. We were of the impression it was going to be a residence, which had us upset enough. But then when we were notified after the fact, my mother said to let it go. She didn't want to fight about it because it was just going to be a storage unit. I have grave concerns about this major subdivision turning into a neighborhood with 3 more families. It would disrupt the beekeeping operation that we have at the south end of our place, I believe. It would be detrimental to the wildlife. It would be detrimental to Enberg Road itself. I wrote to you about the problems with Enberg Road. And I would pray that you consider not letting someone parcel up the land when he gave his word he wouldn't and put 3 more families right on top of us. I would pray that you turn that down. People live in the country so that they don't have to have close neighbors. And unless you have any questions, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Questions for Ms. Lincoln? Thank you.
Thank you for your consideration.
And you had quite the comprehensive letter to us. That was well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about it.
That shows. All right. Seeing no one else to speak for or against, this is the close of the public hearing. Planning and Zoning Commission, any discussion or do we have a motion for consideration?
I will make a motion for consideration so that we can discuss this a little further. If I can find my information. So considering all relevant factors, including but not limited to those set forth in the 2013 subdivision regulation of Natrona County, I find the major subdivision meets the general standards required. On that basis, I move to approve MS 24-7 with the due pass recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners with all staff findings of fact incorporated by reference.
Do we have a second?
Yes, I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Well, Mr. Chair, so there were some questions about some agreements that happened prior to the selling of this property, but I'm not understanding how the P and Z board would address that. That seems to be out of our jurisdiction, or am I incorrect?
Maybe a question for legal staff, but from my experience here on the board, if you don't have something in writing with as an easement or anything like that, it's a pretty rough road there.
And that is correct, Mr. Chair. That's not something that I think that I think you can consider what was stated to you in that comment, but there is nothing before the board tonight to show that there was any type of agreement that would preclude the applicant from subdividing the land.
I do think it's unfortunate that we don't have anyone from the applicant here tonight to address this, and with that in mind, the word table comes to mind.
Can we do that? Can we do that?
Mr. Chair, I think the appropriate thing would do, if you are considering tabling the matter, you would still need to deal with the motion that is before you at this time. If you were to vote and did not have a majority vote to pass this to the Board of County Commissioners, a new motion could be presented to table the matter.
I'm not sure I understood that.
You could all vote right now, and if you don't have at least two of you with an aye vote for this, then that motion would fail. Then someone could make a new motion to table the matter.
Okay, well. We have a member of the audience that took the time and effort to come here to express herself and tell us what her situation is, and we don't have anyone here to address which, the effort she took to come down here and to write an email and all that. So for that reason, I'll be voting no. All right. Call the question. All those in favor of the all those in favor of the motion to approve signify by saying aye. All those in favor of, all those opposed signify by saying aye. Aye.
I'll abstain if it's my motion.
Whatever, we have
Motion
2-1 fail.
I think we need to have Mr. Kaufman.
Okay,
Now, the question, Mr. Chair, would be if there is an additional motion that any commissioner wants to bring forward at this time to, for example, to table the matter to the July meeting so the applicant can present any information.
I guess that's the part I didn't understand.
So-
So we voted, we said no. So is there a reason?
So- So you voted and that motion died at that point. You didn't give a due pass recommendation to the county commissioners. At this time, you can make a new motion to table the matter.
I'd like to motion that we table the matter until Mr. Papa's here to represent it.
I would second that motion with the caveat that the applicant be notified to attend, and if they do, I don't think we can require them to be here, can we?
I don't think we can require, but I guess from experience down at the state of Wyoming, if you show up and have an application for a $2 million water sewer project and you're not there, staff approval had been given on several of those, and then the applicant didn't show up and they didn't get their money. So I think similar deal here. So we have a motion and a second to table till July, was it the 15th?
16th.
16th is our meeting, correct, I'm sorry. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Did we answer your question?
Well, what will your communication be to the applicant?
And Mr. Chair, staff can strenuously try to push for the applicant to be here. We can't require that they be here, but we can give them the information of what did occur at this meeting and stress that they need to be at the next meeting.
Or at least have at least have a representative here of some type.
Yes.
Okay. All right, moving on, public comment. This is the time when citizens bring forth items of interest or concern that are not on the agenda. Please note that no formal action will be taken on these items during this time due to the open meeting law provision. However, they may be scheduled on a future posted agenda if action is required. Ms. Lincoln, do you have anything else for us?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay. All right. Hearing no further public comment, the chair would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded for adjournment at 6:18 PM. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.